Okay, the third step that is involved in the recruitment process is the searching. Searching involves two parts. That is one is the source activation. What is source activation? Source activation takes place when a job vacancy exists in the organization. If the organization has planned well and done a good job of developing its source and search methods, activation soon results in a flood of application. Obviously, this particular step is based on the strategy development that we have discussed earlier, that uh, which particular tools should be used, technological tools, and which particular geographical location should be used in order to gather the applications. So you have to go through this particular, if the organization has planned well and done a good job of developing its source and search methods, activation source, after activating this particular source, once you have started, once you have initiated, once you have activated the source, job source, then you will be flooded with the applications. In case if you're unable to get the right applications, if you're unable to get the limited application, unable to get the application, and if you're provided with the limited applications, there must be some fault in your strategy. You have not activated the right source. Next is the selling. In selling, the both message and media deserve attention in the organization. Message refers to the employment advertisement. Media refers to the source of any recruiting message. For example, employment exchanges, advertises in business magazines, etc. The combination of both these two, where source activation refers towards where to initiate the process, where do we have to advertise the process, what tools should be used, and selling, what is the media, right, the right communication process in order to better communicate your organization culture, in order to better communicate your organization needs and your requirements as well. The next is the screening process. Once you are provided with the applications, the next comes is the screening, that is the filtration. The purpose of screening is to remove from the recruitment process at an early stage those applicants who are visibly unqualified for the job. Effective screening can save a great deal of time and money. Care must be exercised to assure that potentially good employees are not lost. Although it seems very easy, but somehow it's a cumbersome process. As we have discussed earlier, while devising this strategy, you have to be very careful. The applications, the number of applications should not be limited, neither they should be very much in abundance. Because in case if you're excessively overburdened with the applications, in that case, it would be difficult for you to filter out the ineffective or unqualified employees and select the capable ones. So while selecting the tools to be used, while selecting the geographical location to be approached, you have to be very much clear while devising the searching process, source activation, and message devising. You have to be very much careful that your message should be clear enough. And so you would be able to effectively filter out, screen out the right employees from the wrong employees. It should be easy, because in case if you're provided with excess applications, that will result in cost, increasing cost of organization, and it will somehow waste your time as well. However, the right time should, a right amount of time should be dedicated, so we may not be losing the true potential for the organization. Next is the evaluation and control. HRM is a continuous process. Recruitment and selection is a continuous process. Once you have recruited the employees, even after the selection, you always have to evaluate and control at every stage. You have to decide, you have to uh, see, and you have to control the elements that are not working effectively. Rather than post control, you have to work on either pre control or the concurrent control. So evaluation and control. Uh, this particular step helps you in eliminating those factors, or somehow rectifying those elements that were previously selected while devising the strategy, while devising your message, advertisement message, but however they are not working accordingly. So they should be rectified in a timely manner. Instead, you are going to hire the wrong employee for the organization. Okay, moving on towards the sources of recruitment that we have discussed while devising the strategy for recruitment process. As we have discussed earlier, there are two sources of recruitment uh, from where we can search suitable candidates and informing them about the openings in the enterprise. And that is one of the most important aspects of recruitment process that helps you filter well, that helps you search well, and that helps you hire well for the organization. Internal sources includes seeks the applications for positions from those who are currently employed within the organization, as the name implies, that they are the employees, the current employees of the organization, the present employees of the organization, that is from transfers, either by doing the transfers or either by doing the promotions. It's not always the case that you have to rehire the employee by promoting them, or sometimes it happens that from one particular branch of your organization, you can move the excess uh, hiring from one branch to another branch, or either you can promote uh, the employee of a particular branch of the organization to another branch. Moreover, it also seems to be the strategy of certain organizations that with the promotion they used to transfer the employees from one domain, from one branch to another branch. Might be due to the reason that at times it happens that with the promotion of an employee, the current employees, the rest of the employees, they do not accept it wholeheartedly. So in order to avoid any kind of problems or disputes within the organization or organizational politics, they used to transfer the employees to another branch with the promotion. Second is employee referrals. Employee referrals, another important source uh, that used to recruit, that refers towards the potential employees that are referred by the existing employees of the organization. Means in case if there is a job opening in your organization, you used to ask the current employees for approaching certain people, for referring certain people for the post. uh, it is also one of the effective tool or the way to gather employees, because the already existing employees knows the organization culture, they knows the ethics of your organization, they knows the requirement of the job, and they most of the time they somehow suggest you this right choice, the right employee for the organization. But it somehow, at times, it is also avoided due to the reason that in case if there will be a pooling of same kind of potential within the organization, or in case if the organizations do not suggest the right employees for the organization, rather just trying to fill in the organization with the relatives or with the people they usually know. So, but in most of the cases, the people refer the right employee and that are most suitable. This particular thing also helps you minimize the cost, uh, advertisement cost, as well as the access time that is um, that may be waste on searching the employees, on advertising the thing, and further recruiting and interviewing and all those things. So that helps save time as well. Another thing is the former employees. At times it happens that, but all these sources are based on, especially based on the nature of the job. Specifically, former employees refers towards in case the retired employees of the organization, the employees that have already quit the organization, they are again approached with the purpose in case if there is an opening, or the employees that were somehow fired for, not fired actually, those who quit the organization due to certain reasons, due to non-existence of, due to downsizing, due to non-existence of positions within the organization, or they might have retired as normal, but with the job opening, they might be considered suitable for filling in the position. Or another is the previous applicants. Previous applicants refers towards once you have approached the right source for gathering your job opening, for gathering your gathering the potential for the job opening, and you're trying to get you might have filtered them out after the screening test or something like that. You have already selected, you have already somehow passed them, considered them the right employee, the true potential for the organization. But due to the limited vacancies, you might not have hired them previously. So in that case, the previous applicants are also a good choice in case if you want to hire them now. External sources refers towards the trade associations. Trade associations specifically are a good source because they used to have the people of same interest. For example, in case if you're if you belong to the textile sector and you approach textile association of a certain country, textile association of certain countries, so you would be able to get the right employee that has the knowledge of textile sector, that has the knowledge of the work ethics in the textile sector. So they will be more equipped with the technical knowledge as well. Advertisements, another source. Employment exchanges. It happens within the countries, within the organization, in order to fine tune the potential. They used to exchange, employee exchange programs used to happen, especially in case if you talk about the education sector. Employee exchange, faculty exchange programs used to happen among the universities, especially in case if one of them is the foreign university, the universities that exist in 2 different countries. Campus recruitment, when you used to approach a university in case if you need a business executive person, rather than giving an advertisement and filtering out the applications from random domains, you try to approach the campus, the business administration campus, or the commerce campus, or the science or applied physics campus of applied physics department of a particular university, the selected university, the desired university, and you used to and invite them for applying in your organization. Walk-in, write-in, and talk-in. Walk-in interviews, write-in interviews, or talk-in interviews. This is one of the another a very common practice in case you define a time on a particular day and you invite at random that whoever wants to get into the organization just walk in and just get the time for the interview and move on then. Consultants, HR consultants is another external source that is usually now that is mostly used in different countries, because HR consultants are one of the sources, or contractors, one of the sources that provide you the best true potential for the organization, rather than in case if you because obviously the technical, they are more equipped with the technical knowledge about the desired people, about the desired potential, about the human psychology, who should be hired, what are the human traits, what should be proper, what should be judged, how can the aptitude be tested. So different HR organizations are also working well in order to provide the right potential for the organization. Displaced persons, radio and television acquisitions and mergers, competitors, recruiting, and some other sources for the recruitment, external sources for the recruitment of your recruitment for your organization. Methods of recruitment. There are three methods of recruitment: the direct method, the indirect method, and the third-party method. Direct method. In this method, the representatives of the organization are sent to the potential candidates in the educational and training institutes. They establish contact with the candidates seeking job. In the direct method, you used to approach the potential candidates in different educational and training institutes. So in order to develop the contact, in order to develop the relation with the candidates as well, by doing job fairs, by somehow informing them about your own organization, about the work ethics of your organization, by developing the goodwill of your organization in their minds as well. This is one of the strategies that is mostly beneficial these days as well, because that helps you minimize the time, helps you minimize the cost. You directly approach the desired employees for the organization instead of advertising the vacancy in the newspaper and being flooded with the applications in abundance. Second is the indirect method, as discussed right now. Indirect methods include advertisements in newspapers, on the radio and television, and professional journals, technical magazines, etc. It is useful when organization does not find suitable candidates to be promoted to fill up the higher post. In case if you're unable to find the desired potential from the internal source, from the campus interviews, from the direct method, then you will move on towards the advertisement and invite the applications on a vast scale. When the organization wants to reach out to a vast territory, especially in case of expansion of an organization, growth of an organization, and if you want to get the diverse potential for the organization. When an organization wants to fill up scientific, professional, and technical posts, the same. When you want to get the diverse knowledge, advanced technological advancements for advanced technological posts, in that case, you try to get the potential this way. Third-party methods, again, as we have discussed earlier, within the sources as well. That is the consultants or third parties, intermediaries, that are the external source that provide you. These includes the use of private employment agencies, management consultants, professional bodies, employee referrals, recommendations, voluntary organizations, trade unions, to establish contact with the job seekers and provide you with the best of resources that match the requirements of your organization. Coming on to the next part of recruitment and selection, the second step, that is the selection process. Once you have invited the applications, once you have filtered out the applications, filtration of employees means minimizing or filtering out the undesired ones or the unqualified ones, uh, and just filter out the right and capable and qualified employees from among the abundance of applications. Selection has been regarded as the most important function of HR department. Ensures the organization that it has right number, right kind of people at the right place and at the right time. The selection of the right employee proves to be an asset for the organization. He is an asset of an organization, the right employee, the true employee. Whereas the wrong employee, once selected, may be a disaster for an organization. It is a process of differentiating between applicants in order to identify and hire those with the greater likelihood of success. Next comes the selection process. One thing that should be made clear while going through this particular selection process. In HR, the selection process is not specific or is not fixed for every organization. The selection method varies from organization to organization. This varies or differs due to levels for which selection is made and also based on the need of the organization. The organization that needs more of the technical persons, more of the dedicated persons, more of a permanent kind of positions, in that case, they will be using more specific skill test for hiring those employees. In this particular step, we have 6 different stages. That is, one is the screening of application. Second is defining the selection test and methods. We will go through the details in the next slides. The third is the interview. That is after filtering out the few employees from vast number of employees on the basis of aptitude test, on the basis of a different skill test. You will interview the limited. Well, obviously, it's not easy to conduct the interviews of all the employees, all the potential candidates. So the interview is always limited to a few of candidates. Next is the checking of references. The references help build the credibility of the employees. The references defines the credibility of different employees, different candidates that needs to be selected within the organization. Then comes the physical examinations. Physical examination refers towards the medical test and the fitness test that defines the physical capability of those particular employees for the organization. And finally is the hiring or the placement of that particular employee. There is another one, the more elaborated one, that is the preliminary interviews that comprises of 9 stages. The preliminary interviews, the selection test, preliminary interviews, the beginning interviews, random interviews, then comes the selection test, final employment interviews, reference and background checks, selection decision, physical examinations, then comes the job offer, designing the contract of employment, then the evaluation of selection program. Again, the evaluation of selection program in order to minimize and eradicate the loopholes that exist in the selection process so they may be avoided the next time. The preliminary interview, the purpose of this interview is to scrutinize the applicants, elimination of unqualified applicants. At times, this particular step is included in the recruitment process. But in case if that is not done properly, in that case, the preliminary interviews helps eliminate further unqualified employees, applicants as well. Then comes the selection test. Different types of selection tests may be administered depending on the job and the company. General tests are used to determine the applicant's ability, aptitude, and personality. Different selection tests are conducted for different kind of organization. In case of jobs with physical requirements, you used to conduct different kind of, for example, in case we have a strict, we have elaborated selection test, physical fitness test in while selecting people for armed forces, for Army, Air Force, and Navy. In Navy, you used to hire for, in case for hiring for submarines, they used to check the body's capability of dealing with the atmospheric pressure, whereas in Army, they used to deal with the physical strength and all those. So different, the key point is different jobs need different kind of tests, and that those tests varies from organization to organization and varies from job to job as well. Selection test. Then comes employment interview. The next step in the selection process is employment interview. It's conducted at the beginning and at the selection process of, can be one-to-one interview or panel interview based on the importance, based on the nature of job, importance and nature of job. Reference and background checks. Many employees make it mandatory. Request the name, address, telephone numbers of or references for the purpose to verify information, getting additional background information. Most of the time, they used to ask the reference of your past employer, so as to get an idea of your working attitude, working aptitude, and skills as well. Then comes the selection decision. Selection decision is the most critical of all steps in the selection process, because now you are finalizing your decision from the pool of, that is to make a selection from the pool of individuals who pass the test, interviews, and reference checks. At times, it is the most critical, cumbersome, and complicated part of your selection. You want to hire all people have different potential, and one is capable for doing something very well, whereas the other has different kind of potential. And at times, the weightage of all those potentials are very difficult to decide, in a way that you are stuck in a position. And at times it happens that organization used to create further vacancies on the basis of the aptitude of potential candidates, on the basis of the candidates. So this is an important, in case if you hire the wrong person and if you let go of the right person, you will be at loss, being the organization. Then comes the physical examination, as discussed earlier. Before the job is offered, the candidate is required to undergo a physical fitness test based on the nature of your job. Physical fitness test is based on the nature of job, whether you are going for the office job, whether you are working in a particular environment for the textile industry, for let's say working units, in case laboratories. All those environments have different kind of physical requirements, physical abilities, physical capabilities, and different physical tests to determine the fitness and immunity and survival ability of people in those environments as well. A job offer is often contingent upon the candidate being declared fit after the physical examination. Especially in the armed forces, it used to happen that even after passing through all the written tests, all the psychological tests, you are at the last stage, you are declared medically unfit. So that is one of the most unfortunate moments for the candidates as well. But somehow it has to be made in order to ensure their physical, the right working ability in the organization, and to avoid them from harm as well. Job offer is made through a letter of appointment, and also uh, also um, defining the right remuneration for the, it contains the details of the hiring, the conditions, and the remuneration to be offered. So all these things are included in the job offer letter. Contract of employment and evaluation of selection program. As discussed earlier, these steps are elaborated on the basis of nature of jobs as well. Then comes the selection test. This is just the elaboration of the selection test we have discussed earlier. Aptitudes, the different kind of tests that are available for determining the potential of employees, potential of candidates are the aptitude test, analytical reasoning, skills and ability to learn a new job, the intelligence test. Once you require the IQ, the job requires more of an IQ of a person. Personality test to test the type of person. The psychological test, assertive, submissive, dominance, enthusiastic, introvert, extrovert, the positive, optimist kind of personalities or pessimist kind of personalities. All these different kind of tests are relevant to the nature of your jobs. Then interviews, there are different kind of interviews, that is preliminary, stress, depth, patterned, unpatterned, group discussion, based on the nature of your jobs. This is just for the reference. Another selection process used by different kind of organization. The barriers in selection. Obviously, as we have discussed earlier, within the recruitment process, you always have to evaluate and control. Again, in the selection process, you have to evaluate. Evaluate the loopholes that exist in the selection process in case if you have hired the wrong person, in case if you have gone for the wrong potential. The main objective is to hire people having competence and commitment. This objective is often defeated because of certain barriers. The impediments to effective selection at work can be explained as under ineffective recruitment, as we have discussed earlier as well, in case if you have selected the wrong technological gadget, wrong technological tools for the recruitment process, or you have approached the wrong geographical area, you have approached the vast geographical area, or you have approached a very limited geographical area. In all those cases, you won't be able to get the true potential for the organization. Then comes the perception, whether you are perceiving, whether people are not applying for the jobs in your organization because of wrong perception, or either you develop a wrong perception regarding a person because of their background, because of their institution, because of whatever reasons. Stereotyping. Then comes the gender issue. Most of them, among the most common issues, gender inequality, male chauvinism. There are so many things that somehow restrict the organization, restrict the people from hiring the right people, and rather selecting the wrong potential for the organization. Age or race issues, also among the very common biasness, the selection made on the basis of age, or the selection made on the basis of race, common race, favorism, biasness, they somehow restrict the organization from getting the true potential. The halo effect, the quota, fairness, validity, reliability, pressure, nepotism, favorism, cost and time. This is somehow, although this is somehow the part of the old lecture, but that needs to be revised and revived every now and then. The job description and job specification. Job description, what is the job, while defining while recruiting, while inviting the applications, and job specification, what are the human traits required to do the job, while defining the aptitude test. Job description helps you understand the people, the place that should be approached for gathering the applications, and job specification helps you define the physical test, the selection test that needs to be used for the selection of persons. Okay, these are some additional materials that are gathered, that are provided to you. That is the cold calling. If you're making the cold call, what is the cold call? And during the call, things to be avoided during the cold call, headhunting, identifying the potential candidates applicable for middle level and senior level management. Headhunting, why do we have to headhunt? For higher conversion rate, to target candidates who otherwise may not apply. This is another barrier of selection as well. Why are they not applying? So you have to hunt them by yourself so as to get the right potential for your organization. And when do we have to headhunt? The quality of CVs is low, niche skill requirements, competition is stiff, lead time is less, poor internal database. Essential qualities of a good headhunter: they should have the requirement, they should have the client's business requirement, industry requirement, target company, common sense. They should have in abundance. They should be organized, creative, innovative, networked, highly networked. They should have social circle, so they may be able to gather. They may be able to gather potential candidates for the organization. The process or steps involved in headhunting: identify and map organizations where potential candidates are available with relevant skills. Contact those candidates by making the cold calls or by approaching them. Present CVs to clients. And schedule interview for profiles shortlisted by client. Then comes follow up with the client and contact with the candidate after interview to check for closures and further evaluation of your selection program or recruitment program or headhunting program. So in order to make betterments in the process. These are the differences between recruitment and selection. Recruitment is an activity of establishing contact between employer and applications, process of picking up the more competent one. Objective is to